covered by national media, but a major event took place late last week. One that will have a massive effect on the money in your wallet, your ability to buy goods and services, and ultimately, your future. It's something called QE3, and tonight, what it means for you. This is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Let's start with what QE3 even means. QE, it's short for quantitative easing. The 3, because since the Wall Street mess of 2008, there have been 2 other attempts at quantitative easing by the Federal Reserve. So let's take this one step at a time. What is quantitative easing? The most simple way to explain it, most Americans know of only one economic theory. It's called Keynesian theory. The idea is that when the economy is slow, the government or central bank must stimulate it. Now, one way to do that is for the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank, not a branch of government, orders the printing of new money and lowers interest rates. That is quantitative easing, leveling out drops in the market. By putting that money into the economy, Keynesian theory says that people will start spending, banks will start lending, people will borrow, and the economy will get back to humming along. That is Keynesian economic theory. So, if we're talking about QE3, doesn't that mean there have been 2 other forms of quantitative easing since 2008? Well, yes. The first round of quantitative easing came in late 2008 under President George W. Bush. In order to resolve the housing crisis, the Fed initiated purchases of $500 billion in mortgage-backed securities. Because remember, bad mortgages were the problem, right? In late 2008, the Fed cut the key interest rate to near zero, QE1. A year later, Bernanke was at it again, though. QE2 was different from QE1. Under QE2, from November of 2010 to June of 2011, the Federal Reserve went to work buying up $600 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds to spur the economy. But again, it didn't work. But since QE2 funds didn't fuel economic growth in the U.S., what did they do? Well, it put additional cash reserves in European banks. During the QE2 funding period, cash reserves of foreign banks grew from $308 billion to $940 billion, the same amount as the increase in the Fed's reserve balance. So, let's be clear. QE1 printed money, gave it to banks to fix the mortgage crisis, but it didn't work. The average person wasn't helped, but banks got billions of dollars. Then QE2 printed money, gave it to foreign banks to spur the economy, and it didn't work. But European banks got billions of dollars. I bet you can guess what QE3 does. To start with, we really shouldn't call it QE3. We should more correctly call it QE infinity. Because while other quantitative easing efforts had ending points, this one does not. Last week, Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke announced the Federal Reserve will purchase $40 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities indefinitely from financial institutions. They will also keep interest rates at 0% until at least 2015. So how will this help you? It won't. Borrowers won't see any help from this, but the profit will go to, guess who? The banks. So what you need to know is that there's no evidence that QE anything will create jobs, encourage lending, borrowing, or spending. The last 4 years have proven that. But there is a hard truth here. The Federal Reserve Bank, through Bernanke and under Keynesian theory, believe that they have to keep printing currency and giving it to banking institutions and keep interest rates near zero in order to hide how massive our debt is. The hard truth? The other economic school of thought, called Austrian economics, says it will all crash. But the longer the Federal Reserve Bank keeps prolonging corrections in the market that have to happen at some point, the more pain there will be. QE3 or QE infinity, whatever you want to call it, just means that day of reckoning, which is coming, will be all that more severe when it gets here. And that is Reality Check. If you'd like to make your voice heard on the story, you can head over to my Facebook page. You can find it so easily by searching Ben Swan WXIX.